Hey, what's up YouTubers and those who may be watching this on Facebook? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back with a my 2 cent Switch/gaming video for this week where I take a look at some of the stories that caught my attention and give you my thoughts and my opinion. For this week, it will be for the week of July 14th to the 20th, and I'm back after taking a 3-day break though. Obviously, again, anybody needs to take a little break every once in a while, otherwise you will get to burnout and all that stuff. And yes, burnout does happen, including those who may do YouTube videos or do YouTube as a full-time job. I don't do it as a full-time job though, but nevertheless, it's nice to take a break every once in a while and so forth. So if you didn't see a video review or a video from last week, you know, I had to take a little break, spend some time with family, clear my head and so forth. But enough of that and all that stuff. Before we get started to our 8 stories that we're going to cover, we're going to do a quick my 2 cent, and there are 2 exactly though, and this one, both of these are Nintendo related. Then again, most of this video for this week is going to be Nintendo related, some of them, not all of them though. The first one is, of course, last week most of you are probably aware of the announcement of a brand new Nintendo Switch by the name of Switch Lite. After rumors and rumors and rumors, we finally got to see the Nintendo Switch Lite that Nintendo has announced. And what we know about it is basically it is a handheld version of the basically it's a Switch, but only in handheld mode, with basically no IR camera, no HD rumble, and of course the so-called Joy-Cons that would normally be on a Nintendo Switch, they're not detachable or anything like that, so some games will not be able to work on them. Depending on your point of view, either that's a big deal or not a big deal or anything like that. But there is a traditional D-pad on the Switch Lite compared to the Nintendo Switch that comes with the Joy-Cons that have like the directional buttons or anything like that. Honestly though, I'm not really 100% sold on it or anything like that. I'm not saying I'm against it, and I'm sure those who prefer handheld mode who play their Switch only in handheld mode, not dock mode or anything like that, would probably enjoy it. But for me, I'm not really sold on it or anything like that. I'm sure there are those that probably will like it, like I said. Plus, we learned that it's going to be $200, so if you prefer to play your Switch only in handheld mode and not in console mode, or you don't like the idea of playing handheld or console, then you could consider the idea of getting the Switch Lite, although I still think it's kind of an odd name to call it the Switch Lite, considering the whole idea of the Switch is being a console and handheld hybrid. Nevertheless, it's coming out in September, and if you prefer to play your Switch only in handheld mode, then consider maybe getting the idea of a Switch Lite. We also learned that this week that Nintendo might be facing a lawsuit in regards of the Joy-Cons in terms of basically drifting and all that stuff. And according to they are reporting that a law firm by the name of Schwartz Krim and Dawson Smith, I apologize if I'm not saying their name correctly, is investigating whether or not a class action lawsuit against Nintendo is viable. A class action lawsuit will gather up everyone who had problems with the Joy-Cons into one large lawsuit, and each individual could potentially see a settlement if the case is decided in their favor. Now, it's unclear whether or not this lawsuit will go forward or not. It's unclear whether or not these lawyers are doing it for attention or anything like that. But we'll have to wait and see. Some people have complained about drifting in the Joy-Cons or anything like that. I've had my Switch since 2017, when the Switch originally came out, and honestly, I haven't ran into any drifting or any issues with the Joy-Cons or anything like that. Especially when I took my Switch out on vacation, or when I went out, or when I had spent when I took my break and spent some quality time with my family and played it in portable mode and in tablet mode. And honestly, I had no problems with any drifting or any problems with the Joy-Cons, even when playing, like, say, 3 hours or maybe like 3 or 2 hours of Dragon Dogma in it, I did not run into any problems. But obviously some folks have, so we'll see if this lawsuit truly goes through or not, or whether or not what response Nintendo is going to make out of this. But obviously it seems as though some people are not happy with Nintendo handling the issues with the drifting the Joy-Cons, and some may consider this option to get their attention and all that stuff. But we'll have to wait and see. Alright, with that quick my 2 cent stories out of the way and all this stuff, we'll get started with our main one. And the first one has to do with, of course, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Now, this week, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 has just came out. I recently went over to my local GameStop to pick it up, though, and it was definitely one of the games I was keeping an eye out for. Out of the 2 Marvel titles that were basically shown off, that was shown at E3, though, I would say Alliance 3 kind of caught my attention a little bit more than, say, the Avengers one from Square Enix, although I'm not going to write that one off. I'll give the Crystal Dynamics that's working on it the benefit of the doubt and so forth, though. And there's definitely, like I said, Ultimate Alliance 3 was definitely one I'm looking forward to, because I have fond memories of playing the original Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Ultimate Alliance 2, not to mention the predecessors that came before Ultimate Alliance, X-Men Legends 1 and 2 to be exact. And so, interesting enough, we learned that there would... Obviously, we knew, interesting enough, there were going to be DLCs for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, but the way Nintendo is kind of approaching it is, well, some people, depending on your view, some people may or may not like this approach, to be exact. In an article on Nintendo Life, link will be in the description of, basically, in this video, though, or in the description, though, it reads that, quote, "During Nintendo's E3 2019 Direct presentation, we got another look at the upcoming title, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order. It also revealed how players will be able to expand their experience with a paid expansion packs, including 3 DLC packs from Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Marvel Knights. Unfortunately, if you were only wanting a few additional characters or one specific DLC pack, you still will be required to purchase the expansion pack. A description on Nintendo's official website states the following. This paid expansion pack will include 3 DLC packs, which will be available as they are released one at a time after the launch of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. The Black Order will not be sold individually. And in case you're wondering how much the expansion packs is going to cost, in the US it is $19.99. Basically, it's going to be $20 to be exact. I'm kind of mixed on this one and Nintendo's decision to do this, though. On one hand, though, the fact that it's $20 isn't necessarily a bad deal, at least in my view. And the fact that you're getting these other characters to put in and stories and all that stuff, it's definitely is nice. So $20 and the fact that they're doing only expansion packs isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I can understand why some people may not be happy about it. Some folks maybe just want to purchase just only one set of the DLCs and all that stuff. Maybe they're just happy with that. So to offer it this way, though, I am kind of mixed. I'm also kind of mixed of them announcing a season pass or an expansion pass well before even the game came out at the time. Bear in mind, this article was written on Saturday, though, last Saturday to be exact. So it's kind of mixed in a certain way, though, but at the same time, the fact that you're getting all this content for $20 doesn't seem like a bad deal. But again, that's going to come down to your preference and your taste of whether or not you agree with this approach Nintendo did or not. Speaking of the expansion packs, we learned, especially this week at Comic-Con, in the DLCs and all that stuff. And according to an article from GameSpot, link will be in the description of this YouTube video, it reads, quote, first, Cyclops and Colossus will come to the game as a free update on August 30th, Those two are both X-Men, but they aren't the previous announced X-Men DLC pack. Instead, the first DLC pack will be Marvel Knights this fall, which will include Blade, Moon Knight, Punisher, and Morbius. According to a side shown at the panel, X-Men will come next, followed by the Fantastic Four, which are planned for a 2019 and a 2020, respectively. The DLC also says to contain additional story content and modes. It also nets you an alternative color Chief Deadpool outfit. As mentioned in the Nintendo Life article, it says the DLC will not be sold separately and you'll have to purchase the full expansion pass for $20. The pass is also being sold as a bundle with the full game. I assume that might be through the Nintendo eShop and so forth, though. But either way, for what they're offering, though, again, like I said, it may not be bad, but like I said before, it all is going to come down to preference and taste and whether or not you agree with Nintendo's approach on this or not. So overall, it's interesting that they're taking this approach in terms of their DLC, especially with the expansion packs. Whether or not people are okay with this or not, again, it's going to come down to your preference and your taste. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get to part 2, and this has to do with the announcement Capcom made in regards of more Resident Evil games coming to the Nintendo Switch. So we'll take or at least the way they are handling some of the Resident Evil games to the Nintendo Switch. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at the announcement of a Resident Evil triple pack announced for the Nintendo Switch, but there's sort of a bit of a catch to it though. Now when it comes to the support for the Nintendo Switch from Capcom, they've been kind of, well, iffy at best, shall we say though. Now, I'm not saying Capcom in general is terrible or anything like that. They have put out a lot of good games recently though. Monster Hunter World is one example on the PS4. Also Xbox One PC as well. We've also saw Devil May Cry 5, which turned out to be a really good game and probably my third favorite Devil May Cry game, right next to Devil May Cry 1 and Devil May Cry 3. And of course the remake version of Resident Evil 2, which turned out to be very good and almost feel like a brand new game to be exactly. So Capcom has put out some good games though, but their support for the Nintendo Switch has been kind of, well, let's just say to some degree questionable at best though. While they have put out some good games for it though, Mega Man 11 was a good game, and the release of Dragon Dogma Dark Arisen, if I'm saying the name correctly, is also proving to be a very fun game on the Nintendo Switch. I've been very addicted to that one lately. Some of their statements and some of their comments have kind of been, well, questionable at best, shall we say. There have been ranging from saying that they need to see Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challenge, to sell well, for them to continue to support the Nintendo Switch. There was their back and forth with Monster Hunter XX Generation, and whether that was coming over here to the West or not, to the point that Capcom made a statement first that there were no plans and then had to backtrack on that. Eventually the game did come to the West. To some of their comments saying, ranging from Dragon Dogma Dark Arisen on the Switch has to sell very well, so we can maybe bring Devil May Cry 5 over, or to do Dragon Dogma 2, which I think rubbed people the wrong way to a certain degree, because it gave the impression of either A, you knew Dragon Dogma Dark Arisen was not going to sell well on the Switch, so you had to come up with an excuse like that, or B, you actually knew you could actually port Devil May Cry 5 over, but you're holding it hostage in a certain way. to some of the pricing for like Resident Evil on the Nintendo Switch, to be exact. So in a way, it's been, shall we say, controversial to a certain degree with some of the decisions Capcom made, for at least in terms of their support for the Nintendo Switch. And well, it seems to be continuing with this announcement of a Resident Evil triple pack, which in theory should have sounded like a good idea, but not everyone seems to be happy about it. In an article from Nintendo Life, it reads that Resident Evil 5 and 6 shamble to Switch this October, plus they announced a physical release of Resident Evil 4, saying, quote, announced during the E3 2019 Nintendo Direct broadcast, Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6 are both dropping on the Switch eShop on October 29th. Previously perceived in a fall release, the date has now been confirmed by the official Resident Evil Twitter account. Both games will be available digitally for $29.99, $30, although no word on a physical release, at least not for those two games. But there is a welcome surprise for Resident Evil 4 fans, though. Following in the link on the Capcom, they revealed another announcement, a North American exclusive triple pack including Resident Evil 4 on cartridge, plus a download code for 5 and 6. The article reads that, quote, as you see, Capcom's up to its usual shenanigans regarding box compilation, only coming with one game on one cart, but many fans will be pleased to be able to get Resident Evil 4 in physical form. The bundle will be available on the same day for $59.99, $60. Though it's very nice to see 5 and 6 in a completeless sense, they fall somewhere short of the co-op classic the tweet above billed them as. To be fair, they point out that they had good times with 5 and 6. I'm not sure. I mean, 5 was just, I had a hard time with that one, especially if you're trying to play it as a single player mode. 6, I will say some improvements they made over 5, and I will say Leon's campaign isn't necessarily bad, but I can see why people did not like 6 and all that stuff. But this announcement, well, I'm kind of mixed on this one, though. I'm not really sold on buying it at this time, though. Now, don't get me wrong, I still view Resident Evil 4 as a classic. No matter how you look at it, I still view it as a classic in all sense and so forth. That said, there has been some criticisms about what Capcom's doing with Resident Evil 4, such as re-releasing it on every system, to the recent discovery that there was no motion controls for Resident Evil 4, despite the fact that Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition had motion controls, and the Resident Evil Revelation 1 and 2 both had motion controls in it. So there is kind of that sloppy thing. And the fact that 5 and 6, at least as part of this triple pack, is only available as a download only is not really 100% convinced, considering the fact that the upcoming release, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt from CD Projekt Red, Switch version being worked on by Saber Interactive, is basically going to have, and if the developers are true to their words, it's going to put a lot of developers' shame, all the game's content, everything available in a 32 gigabyte cartridge and all that stuff. And if they pull that off, it's going to put a lot of developers, I think, to shame, especially the kind of excuse they pulled off, pulling off on why they only have half the game on the cartridge and the other half you have to download and so forth. So I'm a little iffy about it, especially with Capcom's support for the Nintendo Switch lately and all. So overall, personally, and again, this is my opinion, I'm sure others will have a different view, I'm not entirely sold on buying this for the Nintendo Switch. Maybe if we see a version that has the games in separate cartridges, or see one where they manage to put all 3 games into one cartridge, perhaps I might reconsider. But right now, given what Capcom has been pulling on Nintendo Switch lately, though better than what EA's doing, though, I'm just not sold on buying this one, though. So right now, it's a no buy for me, at least at this time, though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get to part 3, and this one has to do with, surprisingly, the return of Super Monkey Ball. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of our My True Cent video, and for this one, we're going to be talking about Sega announcing the return of Super Monkey Ball, or shall we say more like a remake of Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz, a game originally released on the original Nintendo Wii, making its way over to Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Now, I remember playing Super Monkey Ball a long time ago, back during the launch during the launch of the Nintendo GameCube, and it was a very fun and enjoyable game. It kind of reminded me a little bit, to some degree though, a little bit of, say, Marble Madness. That was a game I remember playing back on the NES back in those days, to be exact. And the whole idea behind the game was that you basically use the analog stick and you basically tilt and sort of move, the ball around the course, avoiding any like pitfalls or anything like that. It also had several different types of mini games, ranging from like pool to one of my favorite ones, bowling to be exact. They also did, I believe, a sequel, Super Monkey Ball.to. I think they did some of them to the Game Boy Advance, and to I think they may have done one for the DS. I'm not sure. I could be wrong on that one. I know they did one for the 3DS, and I think they did one also ported over to, I think, the PS2 as well. So it was definitely a fun series, and then it kind of lay dormant for a little bit and so forth. Yeah, I think it made its way over to mobile devices as well. So it's kind of interesting to hear that Sega is bringing this series back a little bit, or bringing another entry into, say, the console space and so forth. So in an article from Game Radar, I'll read to you the update that originally came out from it. It's recently reported, though, according to the original article, is that the Super Monkey Ball series is officially rolling back after a year off the ball. Japanese game magazine Famitsu has shared the first look at a Tobok, Tabegoro, Super Monkey Ball, which, according to translated by Gematsu, Gematsu, will be a PC, PS4, Switch remake of Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz, which first hit the Wii back in 2006. If you're wondering, the new name roughly translates to Ripe to Eat Super Monkey Ball. The Super Monkey Ball remake will hit the Switch and PS4 on October 31st in Japan, with a PC release date yet to be announced. We don't know if Sega plans to release the game outside of Japan. However, the company has been good on streak of localizing seemingly niche titles recently, so there is a decent chance. After that article came out, Game Radar updated the article by saying that, quote, Nintendo of America has confirmed that Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD is coming to the West, at least on Nintendo Switch. You'll be able to start playing the game on October 29th, while Destructoid is writing out, reading that, quote, that it's reading right now that the game is, quote, they're saying that it's coming to the Nintendo Switch as well, but they also report that a Xbox One release is in the cards, and a PC version is set for winter 2019. The game will retail for like $39.99, $40 to be exact. So it is kind of interesting that they are bringing the series back, even though it's basically a remake of the Wii version that was released back in 2006. I never played the Wii version, unfortunately, but for what I've heard, not everybody was a fan of it, or anything like that. It could be possible some of it may have been the motion controls or the way it was set up and all, so it will be very interesting to see how they handle this version. I mean, will we still have to use the motion controls? Will there still be like the analog controls, like some of us may remember back when the original Super Monkey Ball came out, especially on the GameCube. So I'm very curious to see how this one plays out in terms of controls, and whether there will be any new content that that may have not made its way into the original Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz. So overall, great the series is coming. Great that they're bringing it back, even if it's a remake of a Wii title, though. Here's to hoping that perhaps maybe a remake of Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2 happens, and hopefully maybe one day they'll do a Super Monkey Ball 3. That would certainly be interesting. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 4, and this one is the announcement of Pirate Warriors 4, or One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, coming to the Nintendo Switch and other platforms with an actual physical release. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 4 of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at the announcement of One Piece Pirate Warrior 4, announced for the Nintendo Switch and the PS4. Now, as far as the license for One Piece goes, Bandai Namco has had the license along with the Sword Art Online license as well, and most of the games they've put out have been pretty good, and I've enjoyed some of them, whether it's Unlimited Red to Pirate Warriors 3 and all that stuff. So it isn't really surprising to hear that the fact that they are releasing, another One Piece game, this time Pirate Warriors 4, though. And in an article from Green Man Gaming, it's reported that, quote, Bandai Namco has revealed that it will publish One Piece Pirate Warrior 4 on PlayStation, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Bandai Namco revealed the existence of the game at Anime Expo 2019. Currently, the publisher is keeping details of the game pretty close to its chest, but it reveals that the game that One Piece Pirate Warrior 4 will be developed by Omega Force, which created the 3 previous iterations of the franchise and best known for the Dynasty Warriors game. So my guess is expected to be very much, if you played any other Warriors game, it's going to be very similar. Whether they shake things up a bit or not remains to be seen at this time, though. In the news story announced One Piece Warrior 4 on its website, Bandai Namco says One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 features the latest story, characters, and locations from the One Piece anime, including Whole Cake Island. One Piece Pirate Warrior 4 features the core component of the Muzel game, allowing players to take on thousands of enemies with their favorite characters using over-the-top attacks, combinations, and powerful Muzel move, though. So it is certainly, the announcement of this one isn't really new or anything, but the one thing that's kind of surprising, this is related mostly towards the Switch version, is the fact that the Switch version is going to have, it looks like, if what I'm seeing is true, it's going to have a physical release. If going over to Amazon.com, they have a physical version up there as well, set it at like $60. Same with the PS4 and the Xbox One version, both set at $60. So this to me is good indeed, because up to this point though, those kind of games that Bandai Namco that would bring over to the Nintendo Switch are currently, like, or at least here in North America, were only available as a download title only. So for example, right here, Sword Online Hollow Resolution, this example right here, this is the European version I got from Play Asia. Unfortunately, the North America version was only available via the Nintendo eShop. Same with games like One Piece Unlimited Red and One Piece Pirate Warriors 3. Both of those I had to import to play those games as well. And the upcoming Fatal Bullet, I believe, is The physical versions they only have available in Europe and in Japan and Asia, where I think the North America release will only be available through the Nintendo eShop. So for them to basically release have a North America physical version is certainly a thumbs up for me, and or an A+ to be exact. So I'm really pleased that they are doing that. Now it's unclear whether or not this will be one of those it's going to have part of the game in here and you have to download the rest or anything like that. So I'm not 100% sure if they're going to do that or not, but my overall take is that I am a fan of the Moozle game, so this is definitely one I'll be keeping an eye out for. I did enjoy a little bit of One Piece Pirate Warriors 3, although I still view Hyrule Warriors as my favorite Warriors game of all time. And it's nice that North America is getting a physical version, at least based on what I saw at Amazon, and I believe also at GameStop as well. So overall, if you're a fan of Moozle games, or if you like the One Piece series, this is probably one to keep an eye out for. And if you are a Switch owner, supposedly, if everything what I'm reading is true, you will be pleased to know that there will be a physical version. So if you don't like the idea of going to the Nintendo eShop and just downloading the game like that, I'd be happy to know. I just wish they did that with the Sword Art Online game. I just wish that Bandai Namco would have done that with like the Sword Art Online, especially with Hollow Resolution and the upcoming Fatal Bullet. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 5, and this one has to do with basically the announcement. We actually have a release date for Luigi's Mansion 3, so we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 5 of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one we're going to be talking about the release date of Luigi's Mansion 3. Now, the series itself, Luigi Mansion, has is an interesting series though. While it may not be nearly as big as, say, like what Mario is, it has gained a following over the years. Originally, the first one was released back in 2001 as a launch title for the Nintendo GameCube. The game kind of came off, at least how I saw it though, was kind of like a cross between the first Resident Evil game and a cross of Ghostbusters in a way. So it was kind of like Nintendo's take of, what if Nintendo made their own version of what the original Resident Evil was, you know? I mean, with the whole thing with ghosts, puzzles, and so forth. So the series certainly has gained a following, especially when they released Dark Moon, the sequel, on the Nintendo 3DS, and that was actually a very fun and enjoyable game, indeed. So it was nice to hear when there were rumors going around about Luigi Mansion 3, until we finally saw the game saw it at E3 and so forth, and it's definitely one of the titles I'm looking forward to picking up. But we also now have an official release date for it though. In an article from Destructoid that they picked up from a tweet from Nintendo of America, we now know that the game is set for October 31st, 2019. That's right, the game will come out on Halloween, and according to the tweet that Nintendo of America put out, it says, quote, "When Luigi's friends go missing on vacation, it's up to our reluctant hero to save them from the ghosts in the Last Resort Hotel. Join forces with Gooigi. Still think it's sort of odd, but I'm curious to see how that mechanic with Gooigi plays out. Slam ghosts and prepare for a spooky treat when Luigi Mansion 3 arrives to the Nintendo Switch on October 31st. So let's see, July, August, September, October. So we're about 3 months away until the game officially comes out. So this is definitely one of the titles I'm looking forward to trying out though. The game is just fun. It's just enjoyable. Even the arcade version that they had, like at my local Dave & Buster's, was actually kind of fun. It was kind of like a cross between, it was kind of like Nintendo's own take of like House of the Dead in a way and so forth. So I mean, so the fact that we have officially a release date is definitely one title I'm looking forward to. Although I'm very curious to see how the fall is playing out with this, and of course the upcoming Pokemon Sword and Shield, despite some of the controversies, which I'll get to that a little bit later, and so forth. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and any other surprises we may be in store for the Nintendo Switch. So my overall take is that great that we have an official launch date. It's coming out October 31st, 2019. But I will admit, to some degree, it would have been nice if Nintendo at least had either remade... I know they remade the first one for the Nintendo 3DS. It would have been nice if they remade it for the Nintendo Switch. Not to mention, I would have loved to see a remake of Dark Moon if that were to come to the Nintendo Switch. So, yeah, I'm being a little picky to some people, but that would have been nice. But either way, looking forward to Luigi's Mansion 3 when it comes out October 31st, 2019. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 6. And this one has to do with apparently a refresh version of the original Nintendo Switch model is coming out. It's not, although it's not the Switch Pro or Switch.to that some people were kind of hoping for. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our 6th part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at basically a newer version of the Nintendo Switch, but not at the way some people may have thought it was going to be. Now, ever since the Switch came out in 2017, Nintendo has been killing it with this system. It's been doing extraordinarily well. At the same time, we've heard rumors about basically ranging from a Switch Pro to obviously a Switch Mini. The Switch Mini eventually turned out to be the Nintendo Switch Lite that Nintendo showed off last week. I already gave you my thoughts about it. Not 100% sold on it or anything like that, but I'm sure those who like handheld mode only will probably like it. But now we're learning about basically a brand new Switch, but it's not exactly the Switch Pro or the Switch.to that most people have been thinking about. In an article from in an article from TechCrunch, it's reported that Nintendo has already announced an entirely new Switch console this month, the Switch Lite, and now it's bumping some of the specs on the existing Switch with a slightly updated version, spotted by The Verge. This update improves the hardware right where it counts when it comes to the Switch portable power. The new model will provide the Switch between 4.5 to 9 hours of battery life depending on usage, which is a big bump from the 2.5 to the 6.5 hours rating on the original hardware that's been offered to date. This is likely to improve diversion, or DERIVED, from a change in the process used in the console, as well as a more powerful effective memory, both which were detailed in an FCC filing from last week. Nintendo official Switch comparison page lists the model with improved battery life as model number HAC-011-01, with the back additional disguising it from its original. They are showing, at least on Nintendo's website, the difference in the battery life depending on which of the model numbers. It also points out the serial number as well. So if you have a Switch with the serial number of XAW, that's the one which has a battery life of 2.5 to 6.5 hours, with Breath of the Wild lasting for approximately 3 hours. With the new model with model number HAC-001 (-01) with a production serial number beginning with XKW, that's the Switch that will last 4.5 to 9 hours, with a battery life lasting for about 5.5 hours for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, with the Switch Lite being the model number HDH-001. They have a battery life of approximately 3 to 7 hours, with a battery life approximately, with Breath of the Wild lasting for about 4 hours in all. So basically, the new Switch, or this, it turns out to be that it's the same system with the same features, minus putting Switch Lite aside, but the only real change, or at least only real change, is maybe some of the changes as they point out, like some of the chips or some of the stuff here and there, but the big one is obviously the battery life. The new one seems to be lasting 4.5 to 9 hours, with a battery life lasting for 5.5 hours if you're playing Breath of the Wild, to be exact. That might convince some people either to maybe pick up a Switch who may have been on the fence, to possibly maybe those who might do a trade-in or anything like that. This one, however, I think is a little bit more, for me, it's a little bit more tempting to pick this one up over basically the Switch Lite. Although, for me though, the Switch that I have right now, I haven't really ran into any issues of any power or anything problem like that. Not to mention I have a battery pack for it and so forth. So this one's a little bit more tempting, but right now I'm not really in a hurry to pick up a new Switch, especially with the new battery life and so forth. But it seems some have pointed out to, at least according to what I've been hearing, is that this is basically the Switch Pro or so forth, which it's possible, but I think that I'm not sure this is the Switch Pro as some people have started to point it out and all that stuff. I think this is more likely, this is just like, you know, they changed some stuff, but it's still the same, still follows the same Tegra X1 chip that is used to power the Nintendo Switch and so forth. So I don't know if this is like the big leap or anything like that. I think most of us are waiting to see that big leap, maybe a more powerful Tegra X1, or maybe something in the Tegra X2 or Pascal or so forth. So something like that. So it turns out to be the new Nintendo Switch right now. It seems to be mostly, it doesn't seem like to be the bigger leap like the way from the 3DS to the new Nintendo 3DS, at least as far as I'm aware of. I think the only big leap I see out of this one is basically a better battery life and so forth. So overall, it's nice that they are improving the battery life and everything like that, but it's not like the big leap like, say, the Switch Pro, like an idea of like what a Switch.to or Switch Pro is in terms of like graphical and all that stuff. So, but for those who may have been on the fence about getting the Switch, or those who are considering maybe getting a better Nintendo Switch, or getting an improved Nintendo Switch with the battery inside of it, this is probably one to keep an eye out for. I mean, the fact that freaking Breath of the Wild can last up to 5.5 hours on that, though, is really nice, and a battery life with 9 hours, that's, well, I think that to me would be more tempting. I would be more interested in getting this over a Switch Lite, though. But again, it's down to people's preference, and it's down to people's you know, like I said, preference or taste, to be exact. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get to part 7, and this one has to do with apparently more controversy in regards of Pokemon, with upcoming Pokemon Sword and Shield. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 7 of our My 2 Cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at the developers responding to some of the controversy surrounding Pokemon Sword and Shield, the upcoming release Pokemon game. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm not really a huge Pokemon fan or anything like that. I got nothing against the series or anything like that at all. It just never really clicked with me as much as, say, other people did. That said, seeing that the series is finally making its way over to the Nintendo Switch outside of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which did very well, it is definitely a series I'm willing to try, especially with this latest entry coming in. However, not everybody is happy with some of the decisions that the developers Game Freak has made in regards to the upcoming release of Pokemon Sword and Shield. This has led to a lot of fans being unhappy, where even one situation, although it later turned out to be reported to be just someone trolling, to be exact, making allegations of sexual harassment and rape to the developers, which turned out to be false, and which I strongly condemn anybody pulling that kind of stunt and so forth, though. So their response recently made by Famitsu was in regards of not only the removing a certain feature, but the allegation that they're reusing 3D models and they're being lazy and so forth. In an article from Newsweek, again, link will be in the description of this video, it says, quote, "There is a divide in the Pokemon community. Many fans are unhappy by Game Freak's decision not to include every single Pokemon in the Galar region, Galar, for the upcoming Sword and Shield release this fall. Viewing this divide are fans who are not satisfied with the developer's reason for this controversial decision. Many feel Game Freak is simply being lazy by not including every Pokemon in Sword and Shield, which spawned rumors that the developers reuse models from older games. However, two of the employees at Game Freak refute this in a month-old Famitsu interview recently reported by Polygon. The two developers told Famitsu that they rebuild every model for Pokemon Sword and Shield. They also said it was difficult to bring more than 800 Pokemons into Sun and Moon on the 3DS, and that the Nintendo Switch improved graphics caused the development cycle of these games to take longer than expected. So the decision was made to cut the Pokédex within Sword and Shield, since it was going to happen sooner or later, and the number of total Pokemons will continue to grow with every new region. Also, according to the interview, Mega Evolution and Dynamics have considerable effect on development, balancing the artwork, which is why Mega Evolution and Z moves are being removed in Sword and Shield. Dynamics, and especially Gigantamax, if I'm saying the name correctly, act like Mega Evolutions and Z moves in one battle feature. This is why Game Freak means when it said it's developing the battle balance in Sword and Shield. The Sword and Shield controversy began in E3 2019 when one of the developers confirmed during a Treehouse Live segment that only Pokemons appearing in the Gala Pokédex will be playable in the Gen 8 games. That means that trainers can't transfer those that don't appear in the Gala via the new Pokemon home app. After a few weeks of backlash, they released a letter addressing the issue, but assuring fans that Pokemon that didn't make the cut could appear in future games. So, obviously, the developers' response to this is basically due to some of it, based on what I'm reading, is due to the hardware. Some of the Pokemons just won't make it in or anything like that. And while I can understand why some fans could be disappointed, I do think some fans, at least in this case, I think are blowing a lot of it way out of proportion. Now, let me be clear, there are occasions where I do think fans do have a right to be angry at the developers. When a developer lies or pulls something like what we saw with, say, something like Alien Colonial Marines, or if a developer doesn't deliver on a lot of games like, say, Anthem and all that stuff, there are situations where I do think the fan base do have a right to be angry, respectfully angry, and not making death threats or false allegations or anything like that. But I do think they have a right to be angry and voice their opinion, though. But there are occasions where I do think fans do go a little bit overboard. And I think in some cases, though, in this case, I do think some, not all Pokemon fans, I do want to be clear, not everybody who's a Pokemon fan does this, though. I do think some went a little bit overboard on this. And if what the developers are saying are true, that it would take longer than expected to bring some of these characters from the Sun and Moon Pokemon to that of the Nintendo Switch, then obviously they were eventually going to have to come to this decision at some point. So yes, it's a disappointment that some of these features that longtime Pokemon fans would love to see isn't going to be there, though, but I can understand the decision why the developers wanted to do this. I understand not every Pokemon fan is happy about this decision, and they have a right to be disappointed if they want to, but I do think some of the controversy is a little over the top, and I personally think it's way out of line and all that. But again, like I said, I'm not a diehard Pokemon fan, and I don't think all Pokemon fans are taking this way too seriously. I'm sure there are some that are disappointed but are not losing sleep over it, but I do think some people are, in a way, kind of blowing it maybe way out of proportion. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 8, and this one has to do with June's 2019 NPD. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our 8th and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at the NPD charts for June 2019, and we got one game that managed to make it on the list, even though it came out a little bit late, but still managed to make it onto the NPD charts. At least 2 of the parts of the NPD charts was Super Mario Maker 2, the sequel to the original Super Mario Maker that was released on the Wii U and then later ported over to the Nintendo 3DS. So according to the article from VentureBeat, as far as basically the software goes, for the best-selling games of 2019 in the US, it has Super Mario Maker 2 at number 1, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel at number 2, Mortal Kombat 11 at number 3, Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 4, Minecraft at number 5, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at number 6, Marvel's Spider-Man at number 7, NBA 2K19 at number 8, Mario Kart 8 at number 9, Days Gone at number 10, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege at number 11, Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 12, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at number 13, MLB 19 The Show at number 14, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 at number 15, Tom Clancy The Division 2 at number 16, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe at number 17, Assassin's Creed Odyssey at number 18, Super Mario Party at 19, and God of War 2018 at number 20. So Nintendo, in terms of the best-selling games of June 2019, they got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of those games made it onto the best-selling games of June 2019 in the US. All of them almost being Mario, except for number 13, which was Breath of the Wild. Still, it's nice to see Super Mario Maker 2 make it on the list. It's very nice to see it at number 1, and not bad to see Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel making in at number 2 as well, though. Obviously, having the game released on both PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch as well certainly helped indeed. And Mortal Kombat 11 hanging on there at number 3, though. As far as basically the best-selling game so far this year, obviously Mortal Kombat 11 is number 1, with Kingdom Hearts 3 at number 2, Tom Clancy's The Division at number 3, Anthem at number 4, Resident Evil 2, the 2019 remake at number 5, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at number 6, Days Gone at number 7, Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 8, MLB 19 The Show at number 9, and Call of Duty Black Ops 4 at number 10. As far as the best-selling games over the last 12 months, they have basically Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 1, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 at number 2, NBA 2K19 at number 3, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at number 4, Marvel Spider-Man at number 5, Madden NFL 19 at number 6, Assassin's Creed Odyssey at number 7, Mortal Kombat 11 at number 8, and FIFA 19 at number 9, and Battlefield 5 at number 10. As far as Xbox One games go, for the best-selling Xbox One games of 2019, it seems that only Forza Horizon 4 and Minecraft were the only first-party games that managed to make it on that list. Minecraft at number 5, Forza Horizon 4 at number 6, although Minecraft's released at other systems though. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much third party, with Mortal Kombat 11 taking the number 1 spot, although Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel made it onto the list, and that was at number 3. As over at the PlayStation 4, the PS4, though, basically Marvel Spider-Man, Days Gone, MLB 19 the show, 3 of Sony's first party games have made it onto the list, with Marvel Spider-Man at number 2, most likely because Spider-Man Far From Home just came out, Days Gone at number 4, and MLB 19 the show is at number 5. Otherwise, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel was the number 1 best-selling PS4 game of 2019. Over at the Nintendo Switch, for the best-selling game of 2019, the only third-party game that managed to make it onto this list was Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel, and that entered in at number 6. Otherwise, the best-selling games for the Nintendo Switch for June 2019 were Super Mario Maker 2 at number 1, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at number 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at number 3, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at number 4, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe at number 5, obviously I told you about Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel at number 6, Super Mario Party at number 7, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu at number 8, surprised that Eevee isn't on this list, and Eevee... Oh yeah, surprised that Eevee isn't on this list though. Super Mario Odyssey at number 9, and Yoshi Crafted World at number 10. And over at the Nintendo 3DS, although for best-selling games for June 2019, Persona Q2 New Cinema, if I'm saying that correctly, Labyrinth was the number 1 best-selling Nintendo 3DS game for 2019. Otherwise, Pokemon Ultra Sun at number 2, Pokemon Ultra Moon at number 3, Super Mario Maker at number 4, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D at number 5, Luigi's Mansion at number 6, Super Smash Bros. At number 7, Detective Pikachu at number 8, Super Mario 3D Land at number 9, and Mario Kart 7 at number 10. So basically, it taken away from this list, though. Obviously, because of the Spider-Man Far From Home, it is out there. Obviously, Marvel Spider-Man is certainly doing very well and certainly making its way on the list. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel is doing very well, making it at number 2 as the best-selling game of 2019. And seeing Super Mario Maker 2 made it on that list obviously pushed some of the other Mario games like Mario Kart 8, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, and of course Super Mario Odyssey's on this list as well. So certainly nice to see Mario Maker 2 make it at the top spot. It's going to be really interesting to see next month when July's NPD comes out. I'm very curious to see what position will Super Mario Maker 2 will be in. But one game in particular I'm looking forward to next month when the NPD charts come out is going to be how well does Bloodstained Ritual of the Night do, especially the Switch version. When the game launched on the Nintendo Switch in the UK, it pushed it from a number 15 to a number 7 for that week. and the Switch version outsold the PS4 and the Xbox One version. So I'm very curious to see where that game's going to be placed when the new charts come, when the July NPD charts come out. We also see, as obviously, Grand Theft Auto 5 is still that moneymaker from Rockstar as well, so that's still hanging in there as well. And it's interesting to see God of War make it into at number 20, though, the game that was released in 2018. So overall, I would say Super Mario Maker 2 certainly had a very good June, even though it was released a little bit late, though. And obviously, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel obviously did very, very well indeed. And as far as the Switch goes, at least from the NPD, they're saying that the Nintendo Switch outsold the PlayStation and Xbox in June. So Switch momentum is still going on at this time, though. I think the big question is going to be, can Nintendo keep that momentum going, especially as we get closer to the release of eventually the Xbox Scarlet, which Microsoft says will be out next year, to also the possibility of the PS5 coming out maybe next year, although Sony hasn't made any announcement of a release date. So I'm very curious to see what kind of position the Switch is going to be in when those two systems launch. But overall, Switch was the best-selling system for June, at least according to the NPD, and Super Mario Maker 2 became the #1 best-selling game for June of 2019, at least according to the NPD charts. How well will it fare when July's NPD charts comes in? Remains to be seen, so we'll have to take a look. I'm also curious to see also if not only Bloodstained, but how will Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 fare on the chart. It'll be very curious to see what position that game is, assuming if it makes it onto the charts or not. So very interesting indeed. Obviously, Nintendo has to be happy that the Switch is certainly selling very well, and obviously must be pleased seeing Super Mario Maker 2 become like the #1 best-selling game for June of 2019, at least according to the NPD charts. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the decision to only offer the expansion pass for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 rather than having, separate DLCs to buy or anything? Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this is a bad idea? And given what they announced at San Diego Comic-Con, are you pleased with what is in the expansion pack? And do you think $20 is a fair price for it? What are your thoughts about Capcom's decision to release a Resident Evil triple pack with Resident Evil 4 in a cartridge, while 5 and 6 are only available as a download only? Do you think this is a smart move on Capcom's part? Do you think this is a dumb move? Does this convince you to pick up this game for the Nintendo Switch, or are you not convinced at all to pick this up? What are your thoughts about them announcing a remake of Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz for the PS4, the Nintendo Switch, and obviously they're going to be coming to the Xbox One and PC? Do you think this is a good thing for them to announce this, though? Do you think it would have been better if they remade Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2? Do you think this could maybe open the doors to a Super Monkey Ball 3? Do you think they'll maybe make any improvement to Banana Blitz that some people may have not liked? What are your thoughts about One Piece Pirate Warrior 4 coming next year? Are you looking forward to picking this up? Are you a fan of this anime, the series? Are you a fan of the Pirate Warriors or the Warriors games in general? Are you pleased that the Switch version is actually going to get a physical version, especially here in North America? What are your thoughts about the release date for Luigi's Mansion 3 for October 31st, 2019? Do you think this is a good launch date for them to release the game on, though? And are you looking forward to picking up Luigi's Mansion 3? What do you thought about this refreshed version of the Nintendo Switch, which basically offers a better battery life? Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think this is convincing you to maybe exchange your old Switch for this new Switch? Or does this convince you anyway to pick up a Switch if you haven't picked one up yet, though. Do you think this basically shuts down any attempts of a Switch Pro or a Switch.to, or do you think that will still happen at some point down the road? What are your thoughts about Game Freak's response to the whole controversy with Pokemon, especially some of the changes that they made, though? Do you think this is the right decision for Game Freak to do? Do you side with them on this? Or do you side with the fans that might be upset about it? And do you think some of the fans may be taking it a little too seriously? And what are your thoughts about the NPD 2019 results? Were you surprised with these what was on these charts? Were you not surprised at all? Were you expecting Super Mario Maker 2 to become the #1 best-selling game for June of 2019? Or were you thinking that another game would have made it on that list? Do you agree with what's on this list? Do you disagree with what was on that list? And of course, do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I would hope that you hit the like button if you like this video. I would really appreciate it. And if you like the videos I do, make sure you hit the subscription button. Excuse me, the subscription button if you like my videos and all that stuff. And if you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up on YouTube. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Link will be in the description of this YouTube video, of this video, especially when I post it on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!